Great. Sweet. Thanks for having us. I appreciate that.
It's a
All right,
pleasure.
great. This is our first AMA. So we've done like one internally, but we're just like really starting to get out and talk. So I'm really excited. My name is Austin. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. I just finished my master's degree over in London, and I've been in NFTs for about a year and a half now. So I started this project with one of my buddies, Quinn, and he's been in the space for quite a bit of time, trading and advising on some projects. And basically, what I told him is like, look, I'm an architect. I really like architecture. I like the metaverse, but I want to build something a lot cooler. And so we're kind of scheming about what that looked like. I had a lot of chats about like the metaverse, and kind of prior to my master's degree, I was working with Google on their smart city in Toronto, and there was like a lot of discussion about like physical, digital, blah blah blah. And I had seen kind of what had been made in terms of the digital space from Decentraland and Sandbox, and I wasn't that impressed with it. So we're kind of thinking, well, what's like a really fun little project we could do to start to kind of like bring awareness to what we're trying to do and build out from there. And that's really what Chonkz was. If we jump to the next slide there, Kando. So the whole idea with Chonkz was like we wanted to create like a really simple, clean, kind of not essentially a PFP, but a character that could interact in the worlds that we're building. So rather than it just being like this little PFP, it's like actually informing the architecture and what we're building around. And so if you can jump to the next slide there, Kando. Chonkz are really driving their value from airdrops and artifacts. And what that kind of means is we're going to be building out this entire world that the Chonkz is going to be living in. So not only kind of do you get an image of this guy, but we're trying to create a 3D playable or usable character that's going to have these airdrops, these pods, and all these other things that we're kind of building, not to supplement, but to enhance the Chonkz world. You can jump to that next slide there, Kando. And then the next one after that. And so, yes, basically we have 5 different genotypes that we're doing. And the idea is with that is it's all kind of informed by the planets and the worlds that we're building. And then next slide there, Kando. We can go jump to the next one as well. Yeah. So 5 different genotypes, 500 traits, and then that's all kind of broken down into a different set of subsets. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but our collection size is 5,555. So my goal with this was I wanted to create like a really clean, kind of slick looking PFP or character. And what that's kind of meant is we've gone through, we've scrapped some traits, we've added in some more, but we want to have a really sophisticated color palette. So that being kind of 3 tones of the same hue, primary, secondary, tertiary, maybe with bold accent color. So on this Chonkz here, you can see we got kind of one orange accent, and it'll kind of be like that for all of them. Their traits are informed by their genotype. So this would be the bubblegum trait. We have the bubblegum background, kind of the bubblegum fur color, and there's, a bunch of subsets within that, and then the eyeworm stuff. And we're really spending like a lot of time trying to make them look interesting, get them dialed into like what we want. Originally, we were going like super photo real with our take on Chonkz. If you had seen kind of the earlier renders before Twitter first got taken down. Now we've moved to a bit more of like a character that's a bit boyish, and we think that's going to be more interesting for the long-term holder. So if you can jump now to this next slide there. Yeah, so like I said, this is more of an architecture project for us in world building. And you'll see kind of as we go, we've created all these renders and these landscapes, and we wanted to have a reason for that. And for us, that was this idea of these planets. So these Chonkz come from different planets, ranging from 1 through 11. And for this, our Genesis collection, we're just going to touch on 5 to do with the 5 genotypes. And then from those planets, we have airdrops. So if you can jump to the next slide there. That's our timeline. So we have airdrops that are kind of succinctly timed with the planet. So like the first airdrop is going to be this Chonkz pod, which I'll get into later. And that's a lot like kind of similar to CloneX in a way when they drop their Artefact pod. Before we hadn't even known about that, Quinn and I were actually looking at, or we've been talking to On Cyber about how can we create a little ecosystem, a little environment that we can build on. And so when we saw that, we're like, well, dang, that's exactly what we want to do, but we want to do it in a different way. So that's kind of the first airdrop, and there's supplementary ones after that. But I'll get into the timeline because I'm sure you guys are kind of curious about how long this is going to take, how we're planning it out. Ideally, we spent quite a bit of time build up, getting the script dialed down, getting our colors all dialed in. And right now we're getting ready to launch kind of end of April. And so I know like we only have 20K, or I think it's like 19.2 or 19.3K on Twitter. We're quite small, but to us, that's not a concern. Like we literally have not spent any time marketing. We've just been like slowly building, slowly posting. No one really knows what we're about. And now we're kind of gearing up into like doing AMAs, getting the awareness out and starting to build things out. But our goal for kind of phase one is to mint near the end here of April. And then following that, we really want to build into the Chonkz pod. And it's like hard to like explain it until we get more renders out. And we're going to spend some time doing that kind of this week and next. I'm going to be doing a Twitter space kind of explaining what that looks like. But that's going to be airdropped in like a series of parts as opposed to just one single piece. And we've also spent some time on prototyping physicals. And like, I know Antonim's done this, Ruben and Am are looking at it. And that's like the basis of their project. That's not the basis of our project. Our project is definitely around like these VR environments, these VR worlds that the Chonkz are going in. But we did want to spend some time looking at physicals and looking at kind of what we could put these Chonkz into. So we've got a couple other things planned, as well as a 2D collection. I think if you can drop to the next slide there, Kando. Yeah, we've like hired a couple artists, and this is just like one of artists' interpretations at looking at a 2D collection as a potential another way for the kind of users to get some more utility out of it in terms of the PFP. Now, like I said, it's like or I haven't said this yet, but like we want to be community driven, and you know everyone says that, and like what does that mean for us? The way we want to address it was CCO the project. So I'm sure most of you guys that like it's a pretty smart group, but you know what CCO means. But Creative Commons means that like anyone kind of has the license to do whatever they want with their Chonkz, including give it the name or utilize the name, utilize anything that we've done. So like Invisible Friends, for example, is not fully CCO'd. You have like specific ownership rights of it and things you can and can't do. Howlers that recently minted was a CCO project, and they juiced literally just because they were CCO. And so we thought, you know, this is a great way that we can give kind of back to our community. Our Discord is super engaged. People are really kind of active in there. We have like a really small, like core cult group of followers that are kind of really like, always bringing up ideas and pitching us. Our actual initial design scheme changed multiple times just due to kind of their suggestions. And so we're hoping that with the CCO, people will also come back to us and say, hey, like this is what we want to do. And we are hoping that we can support them. Now, if you want to jump to the next couple slides there, so yeah, I'm going to skip the Chonkz pod for now, just because it's in the early stages. And so basically what you've heard so far from me is, all right, the project is CCO'd. It's not a PFP project. It's a little character that connects as a PFP. And then there's airdrops that are coming with it. But to me, like that doesn't necessarily ensure the longevity of a project. And so this is where I think that my biggest pitch comes and the most value comes from the project, and that's ARO. So this is what we've kind of formed as a group pre-Chonkz, and Chonkz was just a way to kind of spread our vision and our word. But it's called Artefact Research Office. So the Chonkz are airdropped artifacts, as I'd kind of mentioned, but we want to keep building on that. So we see Web3 as a really interesting space in kind of the design world. There's not a ton of good design. Like you look at Super Rare and stuff like that, and these one-of-one collections, and they're dope. But other than that, like you kind of have these like massive 10K PFP projects, and there's not much to it. So with ARO, what we're trying to do is like really bring good design into that into the space of Web3. So if you can jump to our renders, Kando, I kind of want to show what we've been doing. So like along with Chonkz, as I've said, we've been doing world building. And so we're going to be like looking to launch another collection that's based around this idea of these worlds that we've created and these spaces, but that's not it entirely. We're also kind of looking at ways we can integrate physical and digital architecture, VR experiences, and there's a ton more stuff we have kind of planned in the pipeline. We've already talked to some partners about, but I won't get too much into it because obviously our focus is on Chonkz right now, but we just kind of want to make you guys aware that like we're kind of trying to create something that's more brand focused than rather just like a PFP focus of things. So if you want to keep jumping through there, Kendall, like these are just kind of some teasers of of what we've done, I've seen like some of these landscape renders that other projects are doing. I personally think ours are cooler, more interesting. Our guy Chris, he's worked for like awesome companies too, has kind of helped out a ton with this and like getting the settings dialed in and stuff. And so we're really excited because we think we can offer a really high quality product that's going to be really interesting down the road. And then we can skip to the mind map there at the very end. So basically, in summary, Chonkz, like we said, is a project that's kind of founded around many facets. We're trying to do a bunch of different things, but not spread ourselves too thin. And ARO is kind of what's following Chonkz. And so a lot of people, they say, well, what happens like after Chonkz? How do we know you're not just going to vacate the project and do like a lot of these other NFTs do? And like I said, that's a risk. But like I've doxed myself, obviously, to my followers and everyone here. Like my name's Austin. You can look me up on LinkedIn. That's no problem. I'm trying to build out a business here. And so why I decided to start talking about ARO is because I think that's a really exciting part of Chonkz. And it's like the opportunity to kind of own like an early initial offering of what we're going to be doing. We're really trying to say this like owning the first bear brick. If you were owning your first bear brick, your first cause before cause or bear brick really blew up. And I know that sounds very ambitious, but if you look at like a lot of these projects, like some of these projects have been very, very small post-mint, like or pre-mint, like Threelanders was tiny. I remember when I mentioned that out and it like blew up afterwards, and all of these other ones are doing the same thing. So our theory has always been, let's just make something really cool, something we really like to do, keep building on that and go from there. So yeah, I feel like we should answer some questions now here, Kendo and AWOL, and see kind of what people are thinking.
Yeah, definitely, guys. If you have any questions, I know a couple of them here. Bodie was asking how many people are on the team and how many are working on this project part-time or full-time.
Full-time, yeah, exactly. So we have 2 devs, and these guys are super, super sharp. And they're also, they're web dev, and then they're smart contract guys. We're getting like a multiple smart contract auditing. AWOL, what's the contract actually we ran on? It's like I think we're using a Zuki contract. Is that right?
Yeah. ERC 721.
ERC 721. So like I said, dev team is super stacked. And then myself and then 2 other designers are kind of our main designers just for Chonkz. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Initially, it was quite a bit bigger. Like we had I think like 5 of us working in design, but what I was finding is there was like a lot of stuff getting lost in translation, and it made more sense to kind of scale it down. So that's kind of meant that we've been able to take a bit more of like a boutique approach, cut our collection down to 555, really focus on the details and stuff. And then we have Kendo and AWOL as kind of our head guys helping me with the marketing and the Discord, and they're doing an awesome job of that. And then Quinn's my business partner, and he's kind of helping with the financial backing as well as the marketing and the connections. So that's kind of our core team. And then from there too, like our actual ARO chat is massive, and we have like a lot of kind of contractors and stuff. But yeah, core team is that. Okay, what do you think the current sentiment is in the NFT space for 3D projects, and how will you stand out from your biggest competitors? Totally. Sorry, I do this thing, guys, where like I read questions and I don't read them clearly. So I'm going to do that one more time. Wrath. He just said, what's the current sentiment in the NFT space for 3D projects? Or what do I think it is? And how will I stand out from my competitors? So that's kind of something we were aware of too going into this, is like the trends really kind of come and go. 3D projects like in December, November were huge. And they were like really taken off. Ape had so much, kind of cred around them, all of these guys, and it's kind of flatlined since then. And we were aware of that, but for me, this project wasn't really about creating like a 3D because I like 3Ds. It was more like the utility of it long term could be like far more meaningful for me. Like I said, we can put these chonks in these environments that we make, because that's really what we specialize in, is architecture, VR experiences and stuff like that. And so a 2D PFP isn't really going to work out in that area. And so for us, it's more about like long-term utility and how this like chonk is actually going to operate. And it's not just about providing a PFP. Like they do look awesome when they are turned into PFPs, but that's not really our expectation. Our expectation is it's going to be built into like this whole little world and ecosystem. And so I'm not really worried about competitors. Like I think what we're trying to do, it sounds like very kind of like visionary in a way, but I haven't really met many other architects or builders in the space when it comes to like this kind of virtual worlds and experiences and stuff. And so I can't really say there's like too much in terms of competition on that. It's more just like us branding ourselves in a really eloquent way and getting people really excited about the art. Ape was brutal. And I was also going to say too, like Ape was not something we're trying to copy at all, or like any of these other Ape 3D projects. I wanted to do the snub nose monkey as my source of inspiration because I also thought it'd be super memeable. And like I bought Larval ads recently, and they memes like and basically went up to 1 ETH, and I made a bunch of money off of that. So no, I was looking at the snub nose. I was looking at like kind of like what's a fun little fluffy character. And I don't know if you guys have seen on the Twitter, but our like 3D full body guy is like not even really an ape. He's almost like a snow yeti. And I think he looks dope. Like the way he's gonna waddle around when he's like a 3D character is fire. And I think that kind of stuff goes a lot further than something that's like super, super realistic and lifelike. It's more like, is it playful? Does it have a characteristic about it? Yeah, like friggin' Kevin's. I'm telling you, Kevin's are a juicer.
Yeah, so I have a question for you guys.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so when you say there's no copyright issue, so we can use your character or whatever we mint the character. Can we use them for any of our Web2 branding and stuff?
Yeah, that's the whole idea with CCO. Is it's a full CCO, and so we'll spend some more time probably just like writing a specific article on that. But no, that's the whole idea. Is like we want you guys to make merch. We want you guys to do whatever you want with it. Make derivatives. Like it's good for us because it's free marketing for us, and it's easy for you because we're starting to build a brand. You know, it would be easy for us to go do like a Doodles deriv like 4 months ago and make a ton of money, but like I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make something unique that could be like well recognizable. It's really cool in Web3 and then build out from that. And I think adding on to that question that you had, someone said in here about like selling out. Yeah. Is minting something that concerns you? Are you confident you will mint out? Like, okay, I'm confident we'll mint out, and I'll tell you why. Our goal right now is end of April, but we're not in like a rush. For us, like I'm looking at this from an investor too. I'm not going to just like go in and randomly ape a project if I know it's not going to sell out or give me good returns. So we're setting up our public and our private in a way that gives kind of everybody the opportunity to mint if they really want to, you know, with all circumstances given. Like we want to have a decent public supply and also kind of a low mint price. And that just means like everyone can access it and then it gives them decent returns. So we're taking like a bit of time on that. And like I said, we're sitting at 20K right now, basically without any marketing. I think once we start to push that, people hear our mint price, which we're going to announce kind of in the next week or two. Like I said, it's going to be low. It's going to be very affordable. It'll make it like a little juicer. And I've been talking to my friends and other cook groups and stuff. And when we put those numbers by them, they're like, oh yeah, like I would totally go for that stuff. So we're feeling pretty confident about it.
Okay. So,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So when you say you're dropping artifacts, you'll be airdropping artifacts. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, totally. So like the Chonkz pod is like the main thing that we're focusing on right now. And what that is like a little kind of area, or it's all like the CloneX artifact pod where you can go in and your chunk can interact with it. Your art will be on display. Like I'm a part of On Cyber's design group, and they've done stuff like this before with their kind of NFT libraries. And that will be kind of dropped in chunks and sections as opposed to just like one singular airdrop. And so I'll like reveal kind of more of that in our next AMA on Twitter, kind of what that's going to start to look like. You've kind of seen what we've done with the environments that I've shown you too, like stuff like that. We're also working on some trading cards and other things, but we just want like to do really smart airdrops that are actually going to provide value. So we're taking our time. That's like the one thing that we're promising right off the bat that we're building. And I think the way that we're building it too will incentivize people to continue to hold, as it's all there's not like a singular reveal. Like you're kind of building it a lot like some of these other modular projects, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Yeah,
overall, like the whole artifact part of it just kind of like tied into the lore. So essentially, he was just talking about airdrops, but they're just called artifacts.
Yeah. Sorry if that sounded confusing there.
No worries, bro. Also, I was thinking, well, what would be the mint price that you guys thinking about? Have you guys decided anything on that?
Yeah, we've decided it. I don't want to say it like for another week or two, kind of like as we like fully solidify our mint date. But like I said, it's going to be quite low, low and no, it'll be a good price. Like everyone I've talked to that like is close to me and stuff is like, yo, this is like really really affordable and stuff. So it won't be any surprises. Like it's our goal is really just to get this into everyone's hands and start to generate some kind of awareness around what we're doing as opposed to make a ton of money. Because it's really just like, this is also why we're CCOing it and doing all of these things. Because I'm trying to kind of create like a lifestyle brand, a Web3 brand. And so to just create a really expensive project isn't in my best interest either.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now when you say it's a digital kind of a concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are we gonna get the holders? Are we gonna get a physical part
object?
of Chonkz? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. No promises on that. That's what we're working on as well. Like we've hired like multiple people actually that have been creating like physical chunks, and we're just like vetting them right now, trying to decide how they look. I want to see too how Antonym performs in the long term because I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. Like I think like merchant stuff like that is not something we're super interested in. We're kind of more interested in like things that are going to have like long-term utility and give long-term value. So there is potential for it, like I said, because we have paid the money to prototype it and stuff. And like there's a high possibility, but at the same time, like if it doesn't add any value to Anthem, people are really critical of it. Well, we're going to have to look at things too and say, okay, how do we do things better? How do we do this? Like our brand is really tied to architecture and design and space making and stuff like that. And then just like kind of slowly working out. So like I said, no promises, but I think we're going to have some cool stuff going.
Okay. So I want to know more about the research lab you're talking about. Like, what are they and how are they? How is that? Like, if there are no physical items that you're getting, how is the research lab a part of this? I mean, you know what I mean?
No, totally. Because I guess like the way to explain it is this is all going to be like Web3 is in VR, right? Like we're not trying to make a metaverse, but we are trying to integrate our project with metaverses and stuff. So the whole idea is like you can put on a VR headset and interact in these worlds that we build and do all of that stuff. And there is like a lot more to it, but like I said, it's like not directly tied to Chonkz. There's going to be a bunch of stuff that we're going to be slowly releasing, and we'll talk more about it. But Chonkz is really about like we're creating this little character. He kind of is going through these experiences. He has this whole lore tied behind him, which like our Discord really seems to be involved with, and they engage with quite well. Much like I guess Three Landers did. Like really, why their project did so well was just because they had like this lore behind them, but the lore is also informing the airdrops. So we're creating like an environment, a home that the Chonkz live on, but like that home is airdropped to you in terms of like a usable pod where you can put on a headset and interact with it. You can see kind of you can display your NFTs, do all that stuff. Like I encourage you to check out On Cyber too. They're kind of the basis for this kind of stuff, and they host people who want to do that. And other than Artefact, I don't know who's done. I know Fuck Render's looking into it right now too, but it's more like Chonkz is centered around like these airdrops that we're working out, and then like obviously like we don't want to deliver everything in the exact same day because the project's just going to nuke and it's going to go to zero. So we're kind of like slowly working out ways that we're going to deliver it and roll it out in a way that causes things to hold their value and engagement.
How you guys gonna what's the way of managing the Discord, and how are you guys trying to do that? Yeah. Like how interactive is it gonna be?
Yeah, totally. Well, basically we've already like kind of talked with a couple people about postment strategies for for the Discord who's going to be in there full time, so it doesn't just die out. And Kendo and AWOL have also kind of discussed with me like ways that we can not necessarily keep it active, but keep it as a meaningful resource for me, because it sounds kind of funny, but it's a form of design inspiration. The Discord, like I go in there and I talk with people, and they kind of give me influence, and they tell me what they like and stuff like that. And so with Arrow too, like all of these guys, they know exactly what we're trying to build, and they're kind of like on board with that too. So for me, like it's an incentive to keep it going, keep it alive. And that's why, we have Kando and AWOL too. Like they brought the shard system in, they brought in all these other gaming systems that have really kind of kept our Discord going, and it's really made it perform quite well. But AWOL and Kando, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, so basically what we're doing right now inside of the Discord is we've kind of like gamified the server. So if you hang out there through engagement, through playing games and stuff, you guys can get what are called shards. Shards are kind of like few wishes, but they're not really few wishes in the end, because instead of being put into a raffle, as you get more, you can go to the shop and you can spend those shards to get different roles inside of the Discord. And those different roles will actually unlock different parts of the Discord where you could actually, be closer to Juice or be closer to the mods. I think like a big thing with people in whitelist and stuff is they don't really have a chance to talk to the people that have authority, say in the Discord or are owning the project in general, to learn more about it. So I think if you're going to end up spending like a ton of time in this Discord, you should have the accessibility to go talk to me anytime you want, to go talk to Juice, to go talk to Quinn. So I think having these different access levels that hold like different exclusivity give the users a lot more chances to do stuff like that.
But it's kind of similar to here, how you guys, do your work for sauce, and the more sauce you get, obviously you kind of work your way ups in the ranks. It's almost not, I wouldn't say not exactly like that, but kind of similar in ways where we're kind of providing like an experience daily in the Discord that, also doubles and acts as like a community building, because we're all just really getting to know each other in the end of the day. And that was one thing we really wanted to hit hard when we first came to the project. Community building is really everything to us, and that's definitely my number one priority whenever I come into a project to help out. I always think about who am I going to be spending all this time? Because when you're doing NFTs, you're on your computer all day, every day, and to be honest, like it's time to start kind of catering and curating the people that you're hanging out with, because really, in the end of the day, like you want to be hanging out with the smart, educated investors that are going to, provide value to you, and in turn you can give them some value back. And really that was kind of like the basis of our Discord, was like this whole idea of value sharing, and like, you don't have to be here all the time. We're not asking you to be here all the time. We're just asking that when you do come, that you're a good person, you're a great friend, and you provide some kind of value to the community, whether that be, great alpha or just even like hanging out and playing games. It can be a lot to just sit in Discord and grind all the time. So we wanted to create a space where you could feel like you're really taking a break and still be working towards something. So that's kind of the basis behind how we run our Discord.
Yeah, that's interesting, bro. What happens after the mint about the Discord, the engagement? Like I've seen all the projects after the mint, people just walk away from the Discord very soon.
Yeah, I think like our biggest thing is we're still going to try and plan out community events. The obvious answer is try and get alpha, try and get whitelist and stuff. That's just normal, right? But I think like one big thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to hold kind of like weekly meetings. Metroverse has like their weekly town hall or weekly AMA. I think weekly check-ins in NFTs, because the space moves so fast, are really important. And I think it's a great way to engage the community as well, so that the Discord doesn't die.
And the other thing too that I really want to do is like kind of not contract it again to kind of post mint, so it's more dedicated people that are really invested in the project, because it's like I said, it's not just a PFP project. We're trying to build out more of this post mint, and so I'm using it as a design resource, and so is my team. And so having these people that, that are providing input and telling us like what gives them value is super meaningful to me. That's like what gives any project value. Is like, I want to know the buyers in the market. And so we're kind of like talking to you about exactly how we structure that post mint. But, if it was like a one-off project, then yeah, I would have some real concerns too, like what's going to happen with the Discord. But like I said, because we're trying to continually build this out, it is in our best interest to keep this thing going. And so there is incentivization for that. And I think too, like our Discord's kind of a testament to how we've marketed. We've done very, very little. Like it's been very, very small. We've just kind of done like your casual like and retweet internally to grow the project out. Our Twitter got nuked. Like we hit like 18K in like basically 5 or 6 days. We're getting like insane engagement. And then we got like shut down for a week and a half. And we've slowly been building back and stuff. And that's been totally fine for us because our Discord is still alive and it's still popping. And I think it will continue to do that because we've got like a really good group of like friggin' soldiers in there. Like I was talking to one guy kind of outside, like, yo, your Discord is crazy with like the way your mods run things up. And they're hitting me up all the time too, like design ideas and stuff. And they're like interested in Arrow and keeping this thing afloat too long term. So for me, it's not a huge concern. Like we can provide you with some metrics and stuff. And like the next week or two, it's like, yo, I need a concrete, like these are your steps. But it's really like low on my list of concerns, but high on my list of priorities, if that makes any sense.
Okay. And can you tell me more about your marketing team and how are you planning to market it?
Yeah,
and
totally.
Create that create the buzz in the market.
Yeah, like our goal isn't really just to do like massive FOMO drop. Rather, we want educated buyers. And so that's kind of like why we wanted to talk to Nifty Nuggets, and we're starting to kind of talk to people that have reached out to us and vice versa, that we're seeing as more kind of educated buyers and holders. That's really kind of the target market we're trying to hit. People that are understanding that we're kind of in it for the long term, people that can like afford to hold the project more than just like make it a quick instant flip. That being said, we're obviously not going to punish anyone for that or discourage that, but we are spending time now trying to go through kind of all people have reached out to us and just talk to them and pitch them. But I mean, marketing is just, to me, like I get that question a lot. It's like all you have to do is just like and retweet really to generate that buzz. Like I see a lot of these projects, that's all they do. Like, and I'm not trying to be critical of them at all. And it works. Like that's how they generate their FOMO. You build up to mint day, and that's that. We have a team that is fully capable of doing that. But for us, it's more about education and trying to like keep our Discord tight knit, kind of have people that can, sell the vision with us too and understand that. So like I said, we got a team on it, but we're being very deliberate and kind of unique in the way we're doing it. And I think that's why our growth has just been consistent and steady as opposed to like explosive, and we're not like paying for shells or anything like that. Like you've seen our Twitter page, it's super clean. And maybe that's disadvantageous to some, but to us, I think it looks good. I don't want to have a bunch of shells on there and stuff, unless it's something that like we really think there's a value to. But for us, it's all about branding, optics, a clean approach, and that's kind of what Arrow is going to show as well. So I don't know. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense, bro. Also, I want to know the 3D environment that you spoke about the PFPs. Will it be only for the PFP or will it be tied to the VR?
The 2D drawing or the 3D renders?
The 3D drawing.
3D. Yeah, so the 3D renders that's a secondary project. And that's kind of what I was talking about with Arrow, is we're starting to design those as a larger collection that Chonkz holders will be able to access. I think there's like a few good examples. Few does really nice kind of VR environments. I'm still trying to understand theirs and where they're really driving value from. There's another one called Lucid Planet that just minted out. There's only had 1,000 people on Twitter following it, but they really minted out in like 20 or 30 minutes, and it was like much higher. I think it's like a decent mint price, like a 0.1 or 0.2, which is like as of now higher, obviously, than what we're going for. But we're just kind of like slowly taking our time with that project. I think the quality, like what Canada's showing, looks pretty insane. Like when I'd seen these renders too, like that's what Chris had done. I was blown away. I'm like, we need this guy on our team right now. He helped with Chonkz and Arrow and building that stuff out. And so we're going to spend some time on that, making it look really good, and making kind of the economics of it really understandable. And, it's like another long-term play for us, but it will be dropping within the year or two is our aim. But it will benefit Chonkz holders in terms of like whitelists and stuff, but more down the road, if that makes sense.
Okay. About the marketing team again, like what's the experience of the marketing background that you guys are?
I mean, Kendo and AWOL, if you guys want to take this away, go for it. But also, like, I do want to give this disclaimer. I get this question a lot too, and I really don't think that it matters as much as people think they do. Like, literally every project that's like kind of reaching out to us or we're reaching out to them and stuff, it's all the same thing. It's just Twitter, retweet, likes, and blah, blah, blah. And you don't really need to be that sophisticated to do good marketing. I think a good example is NanoPass. They've done a really smart job in terms of their marketing and PXN and stuff. And so we're kind of like looking at cues from them and stuff like that too. But yeah, Ken and Ale, do you want to jump in on that?
Like as far as skeptical. As far as like the whole marketing team goes, I wouldn't say there's like a crazy amount of marketing experience that comes in. One of our colleagues has some marketing experience, but as far as having a fully fleshed out marketing team, we actually don't have that. We're in talks with some people right now about potentially doing some sort of partnering and then fleshing out more of a marketing strategy. But as of right now, it's just like 5 of us working on different collabs, reaching out and doing stuff like that.
A lot of our marketing is relationship based. So, I mean, I saw another question earlier on, kind of touching on, I guess, how Friend FTs is, I guess, connected to Chonkz. And I guess the short answer is, I mean, we're really not. It's a completely different thing. Friend FTs is just a group of individuals like me, AWOL, a couple other and a few other guys that we were literally friends. Like what really got us going was, to be honest, we found Antonym. And we helped Antonym become who they are today and throughout their whole building and production process. So we've been able to make a lot of really valuable connections in the space, and build a lot of solid relationships with pretty influential people, and really it's just we utilize that to our greatest potential. It just is the short answer. Like, again, going back to what I said about community, that's the kind of community that I like to build. I like to bring people together who want to go out of their way to help each other like this, and build these connections that last not just for a project, but until either NFTs are done or this becomes like the whole mainstream, which is what we're all kind of working for in the end of the day. So what I would say is that, our marketing is very much relationship based.
Which I think is good. And I want to build on that too, Kendo. Like most of these marketing guys in Web3 don't have much experience. It's all kind of touch and go, like someone said with PXN and stuff. I'm gonna talk about Azuki too, but it is all based off connections. Like most people have been in space for maybe a year, 2 tops. Like no one has a specific marketing background. I could go and hire like a marketer that's like had all the college experience, all of the stuff like that, and we've like talked about it. But like they need to understand Web3, and most of them don't. And so that's kind of why we reached out to Kendo and AWOL, because they have the connections. We've now jumped on like a really good call yesterday with a guy who's really well connected with these bigger projects and stuff. And really, like a good marketing team is all around the relationships they have. And so I was saying, like, what's show me like a good team that does really good marketing, and like, okay, PXN and Anapass, we all know what they're doing and it works well for them. It's not going to work good for us because we're not attractive girls. But Azuki too, like people saying they did a really good job. They had a sweet launch, super good contract, super smart guys. But like pre-mint, no one really knew exactly what was going to happen. And like most of us, like, I mean, look at a few of us like blindly went in and we bought a ton and it like worked out quite well. But I remember when I was first buying too, I was like, I'm not really sure what this project is, how they've done their marketing. Like they just kind of said, oh, we're ex Facebook. Like no one really knew what that actually meant. It wasn't until after mint that they kind of went in and hired a whole new team and expanded. They really started to take off. And so I just want people to be aware of that as well. But yeah, so some branding is a cherry on top when it comes to marketing. And like I keep trying to reiterate, for me, it's like not about cracked out marketing and getting like thousands and thousands of retweets. It's more, we're trying to create a really clean page, a clean aesthetic. We have like a very clear design in mind and a way of approach, and we're going to let that speak for itself. And, we have the relationships to kind of blow the project up and stuff, make sure we have a successful mint and things go really, really well. But yeah, I think that's like honestly the smartest way you can approach it in the space. And we're open to suggestions too. Like if you have ideas or your community does too, like we love to talk to people and stuff. We're just looking at it as objectively as humanly possible too.
Okay.
To be honest, Twitter marketing, guys, is sliding into a DM and
Like,
saying,
yeah,
"Hey, can we collab?" Right, like retweet tag 3. Like, I mean,
yeah.
you guys have all been in the space long enough to know that, like, that's just some copy paste everyone's doing the same thing. We don't want to be like everyone else. That's not what the intention of the project is.
Someone's like sliding into my personal Discord asking for like a 3 ETH page shell. I'm just like, what's the point? Like, I think our project's good enough and the product is cool what we're building, so we're just kind of taking our time with it and really trying to get the word out there and get those educated buyers. That's our biggest priority, is having the right people that are going to buy the project to kind of like make sure that it does well. But that being said, still we want to make sure everyone has a chance to buy it, and so that's kind of how we've spent some time working on the economics of mint price, supply size, etc. And that will be revealed more to like the mint price, like you asked, in the next week or two.
True. Now, the space is very diluted right now with all the projects coming in. So how are you planning to, stand out? And because cute PFP projects and digital art is not something that's very new in the market. And with all the with all the things happening in the market right now and how diluted it's got with the projects coming in every second day, what's the idea?
Sorry, I just got this random message. Okay, so you're saying things are diluted, blah blah blah. We're not doing something new. I would argue the inverse, or not that, but like, okay, project. There is a ton of stuff coming out in the market and stuff. I'm fully aware of that. What we're trying to do is build like a lifestyle brand and kind of like a spatial experience. And I have yet to see anyone do that other than On Cyber and Spatial, which is totally different than what they're doing or what we're trying to do. Like we're really aiming to be like the next Daniel Arsham or the Cause kind of Web3. And we think that's a perfect little niche that we can carve out because no one's really done that. Like they dropped their 10K PFP project, they dip with their money, and that's kind of it. I'm more trying to create like a really affordable mint, a really cool little project that's going to be built into a bunch of other things. Like the Chonkz is just like a little character that's existing in the world building that we're done, or that we've kind of done. And I still have yet to see like a project that's doing exactly what we've done and what we're trying to do. And I know that sounds ambitious and stuff, but I do think we have a really solid team behind us to do that. And the more people kind of understand, what we're doing, and they see more of the work that we publish in the next coming weeks, they'll be able to understand that. But I do agree with you. Market dilution is something that has terrified me from day one. And that's also why it took me so long to start a project, was just because like there's too much supply. Well, now I'm like, okay, the demand is still there, but you have to be really smart with your project, your marketing, your branding, and your continual game plan. And that's exactly what we're trying to do.
I would say too that like one major hole there is inside the NFT market is for good design. And I think that's probably the thing that we and our team brings to the table the best, right? Like this is like a group of designers that, as you can see, like are putting out some like super high quality stuff. Like you look at like Sandbox and Decentraland, and that sort of stuff is just like very like voxel, boxy. It just like doesn't look very good. So I would say another major goal is to just bring amazing design to Web3 that it's been lacking up until this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the designs are
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah, very nice designs. I would say that. So in the VR, like, okay, sorry, carry on. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh no, go for it. I was just gonna say I just have time for one more question. And one of my the guy who's like coding or doing all of our scripting's in the UK right now, and so I got to jump on a call with him before he hops to bed. So if we can just do one more, that'd be amazing.
Okay, no worries.
Oh, I think a good question though is like define good design. Do you mind if I answer that one real quick? Okay,
Yeah,
first of all, I want to point out like design is like fully subjective, and that is like up to you and stuff. Our take on good design is kind of our backgrounds. Like, so Chris, for example, worked for Bjarke Ingels Group, and that's been listed as basically the #1 architecture firm for I think 3 years in a row or something like that. You can look them up. It's called BIG. Another one of our guys works for Zaha Hadid. That's another super famous architecture firm out of London. And so I had opportunities to kind of go get job offers from both of them. I said no to focus on my metaverse stuff. I went to a school called the Bartlett, which was it's #3 right now in the world, but it was #1 at the time for architecture a couple of years back. And so our background is really strong when it comes to spatial design and architecture, as well as just like contemporary design as well. We're in the loop of what people want. Now, that being said, design could be subjective. I just see all these weird little like PFP projects that look like little like rabbits hopped up on Molly. That's I think like one of the Nelk boys was saying that, and they just look weird. If you look at like the way we've done our renders, for example, you can tell the quality is there. It's done in Blender. We've kind of a really good knowledge of the fundamentals of the background of like what it takes to create a beautiful image. And to the both trained and untrained eye, you can see that. And so we're confident that we can deliver that throughout like the breadth of our future projects. And same with our Chonkz too. Like we spent a lot of time kind of dialing in the color codes and dialing in the palettes and stuff. And so we think that it's going to be down to the right buyer and stuff. It's not something that's like super flashy and eye catchy that like everyone's going to ape into at once because it has slime and the word like ape or something in it. And we're fine with that. Like we're just trying to kind of take our time and do something passive and elegant. So I hope that kind of answers a bit of your question. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. How are you funding your project after mint? Is it going to be sales or external? It's a question by one of our.
Yeah, totally saw that. So we have like external funding right now that's like kind of helped us with like a lot of stuff going forward, and there will be a bit of that. We're kind of going to mix and match both. Like to us, really, it's more the bigger overhead costs are keeping like the Discord alive, so having a team for that, and then keeping us going. And so like our concerns aren't really too high. Like we don't really need a ton of money to do that. Like our overhead isn't massive. So no, it's not a huge concern.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I think you're in a rush, I guess.
No, I'm sorry. It's just like, I just told our guys, I said 6 p.m. on PST, we'd jump in and review everything. And I really appreciate this. Like we were really excited to talk to you guys because we knew it was a smart group and we'd kind of looked into the Nugs before and kind of knew what you guys were about. So yeah, thanks for having us and having these questions. It's been really awesome.
Yeah, thank you for answering.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right.
See you. Well, if that's all right, Ken and Errol, I'm going to hop off.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Peace. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. So yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate everyone coming out, learning a little bit more about the project. Definitely encouraged to go follow the Twitter. Our Discord is locked right now, but we do drop links pretty frequently.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it'd be great if you could drop some links for the Nuggets in the chat.
Yeah, of course. We can definitely do that.
Definitely. Yeah, that's I was getting ready for you guys right now. Without spoiling the surprise. Too late. Yeah, let's do this. So I'll drop a link for you guys here in the AMA chat. Feel free to come in, take a look around, check out FAQ, get to know some of the community members and the mods in there. We've been told by many that we have one of the most active mod teams in the space, so I definitely appreciate and love to hear that. I mean, one of the reasons why I got into modding was for the whole idea of being able to curate and create your own community, and I just love the fact that I'm able to be around for people just to hang out and chill, or just do whatever us Discord people like to do throughout the day, share alpha, anything, man. We're an open book, so definitely encourage anyone to come in and meet some of the community members. I love our community, and yeah, I'm excited that some of you guys will be definitely joining us here.
Yeah, that's for sure, bro. You're gonna be there, raining the place.
Yeah, I'm here a lot in Chonkz, so you guys will definitely see me around.
Okay. I was wondering one last question I had, like in the VR that you guys are talking about, like will the characters be able to meet the other so there are a couple of VR projects, right? So will there be a you know like a
Oh, are you talking like
cross VR
make it
thing?
like fully online, kind of like a
Yeah,
Soho House meetup sort of thing?
yeah,
That
yeah.
is a question that I don't know the answer to, that I could definitely get back to you and let you know. But as far as
Okay.
I'm concerned, it'll kind of be like the CloneX space pods. So I think it'll be like your own individual pod, and you'll be able to display like your NFTs and stuff inside, except it's going to be done in more of like a modular design. So instead of just getting like airdropped like your single space pod, you're going to get like airdropped like different parts of space pods, and they're going to come from like the different planets. So they'll have like a little bit different design to each one, and you can like mix and match different portions of the pod and decide like, hey, like maybe I like two bubblegum pods and like I don't know, two mountain pods. I kind of forget all the planets, but that sort of thing. So you can like trade the pods and that sort of thing. So you can have 4 different types or just one. But as far as it goes right now, I'm pretty sure it will not be online, but I'll have to double check for you.
Sure. All right. I think we're done with all the questions, I guess.
Sound good, guys. And if like you do have other questions, like feel free to friend me, DM me. More than happy to answer anything for you guys.
Yeah, and
All
I'll
right,
leave
thank
that
you.
link open for you guys for like, the next hour or whatever. So feel free to have, homies come and join. But yeah, man, really appreciate you guys hosting this AMA for us. Hopefully, we did answer some of the questions you guys had about the project. I know we've been kind of keeping things close to the chest as part of our marketing tactic, but you are going to start to see us be a lot more active now, both on Twitter and you'll see us doing a lot more of these AMAs with some more communities coming up definitely in the next week. So keep your eye out for that too.
Sure. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, have a wonderful night, guys.
It was great having you guys. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you, Nuggies.
Bye.
Bye bye.